Hello, everyone. I hope and pray that you're doing well. Here I am sitting at my kitchen table at home, in part because I really love the story of the road to Emmaus. If you have a chance, look it up, Luke 24. Writer Don Skinner once claimed, if we cannot see God in the commonalities that constitute daily life, we would probably not recognize Jesus if he walked into the room and sat down right beside us. And in Luke's gospel, we read, as they talked and discussed these things with each other, Jesus himself came up and walked along with them, but they were kept from recognizing him. Right, so shortly after Jesus' resurrection, the story goes, two disciples, they're walking on the road from Jerusalem to this tiny little village of Emmaus. They're trying to make sense of all these horrible, confusing events of the past 3 days, right? And they knew that Jesus was dead. They had seen him die with their own eyes. They figured that this whole movement was finally done. But then they became aware of this stranger walking beside them on the way. What are you talking about? He asked. You look depressed. And they turn and they look at it and they're like, are you the only person in Jerusalem who hasn't read the papers? What's up? He asked them. And then they blurted out their story, right? In a rush, they're like, well, Jesus of Nazareth, he's this wonderful prophet, he's handed over to death, and he's killed, and we had hoped, but... And then some of our women, they came back from the cemetery with this story about how his body was not there, and then this vision, angels, and grief, and reaction, and it must have been a coincidence, post-traumatic stress syndrome, wishful thinking, mass hysteria, and on and on and on they go. And then, beginning with Genesis, this stranger opened the scriptures, explained it all to them. And true to form, the disciples understood nothing. I mean, why couldn't they see? And then they arrive in Emmaus, and the sun is, about to set, and they invite the stranger to come and break bread with them. And then there, at the table, right? At the table, the stranger took bread, and he gave thanks, and he broke the bread, and he gave the bread. And then their eyes were opened. They saw. And then the stranger disappears, and what do these disciples do? They ran all the way back to Jerusalem to tell the others. And they told the other disciples about that moment, that the breaking of the bread moment, this curious intersection between the eternal and the seemingly mundane, the way the stranger had teased them on the road, the way that the curtain had been drawn back for a stunning glimpse at table. Now this side of Easter, I wonder if Jesus doesn't still make himself known, make himself seen in very ordinary ways at very ordinary tables, just like this one, every day. And what if we were to think back ourselves? Were not our hearts burning within us? And then back to Don Skinner, if we cannot see God in the commonalities that constitute our daily lives, would we recognize Jesus if he walked into the room and sat down beside us, sat at our very dinner tables? Would we see God with us in a family member, in a stranger? So I hope and I pray that God might open our eyes again to see Jesus around your table and in every ordinary corner of our lives. The peace of Christ be with you all.